Hello, I am Pete, also known as Risk for Rewards on Twitter. Currently got just under 12,000 followers over there, and we've got about 600 subscribers here on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed, if you could like the video and subscribe, that'd be appreciated, and you'll also get the content as soon as it comes out. It's going to be a lot more video content because it's just faster. I can get it out quicker, and then I'll do the written content close to the time, previewing the big races. If you haven't seen the blog, my Cheltenham Antepost blog is over on Twitter at Risk for Rewards. And on there you can find all my selections that I placed in the last 10 months leading up to the festival and any bets that I'm placing going forwards. If you're new, then perfect, because you've come at the perfect time. We're 7 weeks out from the festival. Most people have been stuck with me for 10 months, but we're on a lot of good anti-post bets already. But we're at the good time of the year where everyone's going to be hopefully winning at the Cheltenham Festival. So this is the part 2 video of my Cheltenham Antepost, and I'm covering the Thursday and the Friday. I ended up splitting the video because there was just too much content. So without further ado, we're straight into the Turners. So my Turners Antepost selection. So believe it or not, I thought this selection was completely gone and in the gutter, and that was Sir Gerhard to win at Cheltenham for the Turners Festival. For whatever reason, we didn't see him. He wasn't doing a lot. It's a bit like what's his name? Can't think of it at the time. The Rich Ritchie horse, that Vauban, where it sounded like we weren't going to see Sir Gerhard or Vauban for the season, and then suddenly Vauban appeared and he's actually had a run and now coming on to his second run. And the same with Sir Gerhard. He's suddenly, he'll probably be out for the won't make the festival, and now he's not only back but he's going novice chasing. So he's obviously doing the right things at home. I'm going to make something perfectly clear here from the off. For me, if he goes to the Arkle, he may win the Arkle, he could do whatever in the Arkle, but I'm happy to leave him. He is my Turner's horse, and that will be it. If he steps up to the Brown Advisory, I'll reconsider it, but that's not what I could see him doing. At the moment, he is my Turner's horse. And I think what's going to happen is, because Willie at the moment, everyone's looking around saying, Gallia du Mesnil might go in the Brown Advisory and all of this. I think if Sir Gerhard's impressive, I think he'll slot into the 2 mile 4 spot along with some of the others, and I think then some of the others will be getting pushed up to the Brown Advisory. So Sir Gerhard, I think obviously he won last year over 2 mile 4 in the Ballymore. He only went to the Ballymore due to the fact that the 2 mile spot was heavily taken by the likes of Dysart Dynamo and Kilcrook because they were too quick. They couldn't do the 2 mile 4. He won the Ballymore very easily, and he's unbeaten everywhere except for that dreaded festival, the Punchestown Festival at the end of the year in April, where he's been beaten both times going the wrong way around. I'm sure it would be right-handed track. And before you load into him tomorrow, if you really want to, he's about 1-7 on novice chase debut. Just remember it's a right-handed track again tomorrow, I think, if I'm right. Obviously, I'm doing a lot of this just off the top of my head. I'm not saying with loads of notes because I want to interact with people. I want people to understand that I know what I'm talking about, even if it's just me sharing my bets, that I've got an understanding. So anyway, Sir Gerhard, massive chance of Turners. I put him up at 7-1. He's currently 8-1. So I don't think you've got anything to lose. For me, I'd be taking that 8-1, knowing that he's entered up tomorrow. I'd be taking him to win tomorrow and to win at the festival if you can get like 10s or 12s or something, or for him to win at the festival 8-1. More than happy with that, because it's going to be a nothing race that'll be in tomorrow. He's 1-7, so basically you'll get to watch him, see how he jumps. If he jumps well, he'll probably shorten to 4 or 5-1 in with all the others in the Turners. He's going to skip the DRF, so he won't get that heavy race. He also you won't have any form lines to tie him in with, so he's going to come from the opposite angle to all the others. And the other one that I want to add is Mighty Potter. Mighty Potter, as I mentioned on my previous video of the Dublin Race Festival, I think he wins the Nathaniel Lacey, the 2 mile 5.5 furlongs. So I've backed him at 5-2 for that. And I think he's going to go close. I don't know who he'll race against. That's the problem. He could race James de Burley, appreciate it. And one or two of them, they could end up better than him. But at the moment, Mighty Potter's 101 on side. And I'll be looking to get him in the bag to win at the Dublin Race Festival and to win at the festival. Because he's currently drifted with the Sir Gerhard news and he's now 7-2. So he could probably, if Sir Gerhard's impressive tomorrow, Mighty Potter will probably be, say, 4-1. So by the time we come to next week, if he's 4-1 and say he runs at Dublin and he's 2-1 that day, like you could be getting 10 or 12-1 for him to win Dublin and at the festival. If he doesn't win at Dublin, he's probably not going to win the Turners. So it's like a no-brainer, unless the winner steps up to 3 miles. So I think it's a no-brainer to get him on side, and they'll be my two. I think that's my current thinking. I'm not saying that's definite. Once we see what the final field is and see that obviously Mighty Potter's turning up, then that would probably be what I go. But currently, Sir Gerhard 8-1 Turners. I would not put you off that, which is why I've done this video today. Onto the Ryanair. Blue Lord at 16-1. I did put you may want to use free bets because obviously we don't know where he's going. The non-runner no bet was available, and you could get 5-1 non-runner no bet. And I really like Blue Lord. The issue is I don't 100% know which race he's going to go to, and I don't think anyone does currently. He could win the Irish Champion Chase, the Dublin Chase, which is pretty much a nothing race because there's going to be very little competition. Because obviously Cheltenham Antepost race last weekend. This weekend you're going to see Enigamine hopefully. Gentleman Demi finished about 5th or 6th in behind him, so he's not even going to have stablemates to ride, so he could end up like a 4 or 5 runner field. He could be 1-4 for that race, but you'll get to see him jump, and hopefully he'll win impressively again. But I don't think that will change anything. I think providing he wins there, I think they'll still have both doors open. For me, the big swinger, which is what I mentioned last video, was the fact that it all depends on how if Enigamine wins Clarence House Chase, and 2, if Allaho wins. If Allaho returns. If Enigamine wins the Clarence House Chase, that means that then he's definitely going to be the number 1 for Cheltenham in the Champion Chase. So you've then got the option of, well, hang on a minute, is Allaho there? If Allaho isn't there, they could think, well, we haven't got a strong contender there. We could throw a few darts in there, or we can move Blue Lord, who I think is equally as good at 2 miles. That's 2 mile 4. You can move him across to there, and if he runs in the 2 mile 4, then he should take the beating in a wide open race. So that's why I wouldn't be in a rush. Like the non-runner no bet 5-1 was a good one, and if you've got the bigger prices, it was a good one. But again, we'll assess him close to the time next week when we see what turns up against him in the Dublin Race Festival. French Dynamite was 33-1. I said you could use free bets on him. I think this race could end up being quite a wide open field, and I could easily see him running into a place. He didn't even get mentioned in all the drama on the weekend when Horton Calor obviously hit the front, and I think he's going to win. I'm not having that Fakir was going to get back out past him, and then he fell at the same time as French Dynamite absolutely smashed through a fence. And then Fakir, literally, you couldn't have wrote it more. It was like picking your lottery numbers up if you back Fakir Duderies. Everything that could have happened in that fence happened for him, and he just went straight through. So French Dynamite, I could easily see him running into a place. It just depends how the race pans out. If Allaho's in the race, it's not going to suit him because he likes to be prominent front runner, and he's going to end up stuck in the heat of the battle. Whereas if there isn't one and he gets like a nice freebie out front with someone like Blue Lord tracking him, he could easily place. I wouldn't be rushing to put big bets or anything on him, but if you get a couple of quid free bet and you want to go on an each way shot, that'll be it for me. Onto the stayers. Stayers, a lot of word coming out that Blazon Cowell is about to return. The markets are speaking the same way, and he's back into 6-1. The important thing for me for Blazon Cowell is that he needs to have at least one run. His jumping last year was very sticky at a few. He battered a few hurdles. It didn't stop him bolting up and travelling so hard, beating really like Group 1 winner in Gelino Bello. But he looks like he's got so much potential, and obviously the yard know how to ready one. They've won this before. However, I do think he needs a run. The rumour is that he is going to have a run. It won't be over 3 miles, but it'll be a run to just blow the cobwebs away, get his jump in and all of that. So if that does come, I do still think he is a massive player in this race. The other horse that I'm very interested in this Saturday is, like, obviously I understand Paisley Park. Everyone says don't sleep on Paisley Park. He's going to win. He's all this. I think he's 11 years old now. Like, I love Paisley Park, and if he wins, he's a horse I will clap over the line. But for me, he can't be getting any better. So it's just the fact that the race has got worse if something else can't improve past him. So he will run to his level. But this weekend he's on for his 4th Cleve hurdle, and he may well get it. But Gelino Bello is 7-2. He's a young improver, and whilst you're backing him for the weekend, not sure. But if he's 7-2 for the weekend and he's about 20-1 or 25-1, I think he's 25-1 for the stayers. So there's going to be some sort of random massive bet, like probably 50 to 1 or 100 to 1 for him to win this weekend and to win the stayers. Like that would be worth at least a couple of quid for me. And like this horse like Dash or Drasher or Botox has, normally something will come out of the cleave, like from left field, and will show you, look, I'm a potential player. Like I can't. Paisley Park could, should, may well win this weekend, but I can't have him in March. So I'm not in a rush to get into anything. The other horse of big interest runs tomorrow, which is Tiupu. I think Tiupu's around 12s or 16s. He steps up to 3 miles tomorrow from 2 mile 4. Obviously, after beating Honeysuckle Classical Dream. That's very good form, but most people say that he wants soft ground 3 miles. So he's getting his 3 miles for the first time, but it'll be soft without being heavy. But it's a very weak field tomorrow, so I don't think he'll have an issue tomorrow. Um, and he's 1 to 2 tomorrow. But if you want to back him to win tomorrow and to win the stayers as like an outsider dart, and you got a £5 free bet, I wouldn't put you off it. But it's just nothing strong. I don't want to get too heavily involved in that market because it's normally 4 or 5 to 1 the field, and you could wait till 2 days before and pick your runner for it. But hopefully Blazing Cow comes back, and Jelena Bello is one to keep an eye on this weekend. Right, onto the Mayor's Novice. We've only got 5 selections left. So the Mayor's Novice Hurdle, we've got Ashro Diamond at 10 to 1 and Lucia at 7 to 2. This is massively apparent because Ashro Diamond is finally going for a race which she may actually want to win. And she's going for the Solarina Mayor's Hurdle this weekend. This, for me, is the race where Willie Mullins targets his best horses at, who he thinks are going to be Mayor's Novice contenders. Obviously, last year, Allegoria Tavassi beat Brandy Love. So his two best by far that we can see now. We wouldn't have known at the time, but now we can see they are by far his two best novice hurdlers. But the issue is currently she's been campaigned aggressively behind the Group 1 horses like Fassar Vega and Irish Point and Marine Nationale. She's learning to jump, she's learning to settle, she's learning to travel, she's doing everything right, but she's avoiding penalties. Because obviously if you win a Group 2 or a Group 3, you end up with a penalty at Cheltenham. Problem is with this weekend is it's a Group 3. So if she does win, she then collects the penalty. But at the same time, I can't imagine that he's been aiming all these time to think, I'm going to... Surely he'd rather see her win a race like this and go to Cheltenham in good form than her finish third or fourth, but avoid like a £3 or a £5 penalty. So I think this weekend we'll know a lot more. She's got to be in the first 1 or 2 to be a serious contender, in my opinion, unless something went wrong and she got unlucky or whatever. So for me, it's D-Day for her. The other one he's got entered his last, C'est La Vie, which we know little about. The horse keeps winning, but it's at a much lower level. Very opposite campaign to what Ashro Diamond is. So I think Ashro Diamond is, of what Willie's seen and what he knows consistently, I think she's the number one. But horses like Night and Day that have come out, had one run, looked impressive, are his normal sexy types that go to this race and do very well, like the Liminis, Lorenas, Let's Dance. So don't be surprised if he rolls something out, like has the Solarina, Ashro Diamond finishes second, then 2 weeks later he rolls something out. But I did put that list on Twitter of all his likely runners that he could run in the Mayor's Novice, and he has got a couple left in the darkness. They're about 20-25 to 1, but there's no point worrying about them until they're entered, and I think Ashro will be his number one. Saying that, Gordon Elliott's got plenty entered on this weekend and for that race, so it's not going to be an easy race. This will be pretty much as good a decider for the Mayor's Novice that we've seen so far. I'd imagine the winner of this will be challenging Lucia. So Lucia brings me on to my other selection, which is 7 to 2. The way Henderson was talking, the way she won, the fact she was put into a listed race straight away, she jumped, she travelled, and she absolutely hammered them. She was then going to go to the Tolworth, and I fully expected her to take that in her stride and win so easily. And looking back at it now, I'm not having anything other than that. I still think she would have won very easily, especially even without the weight allowance. Like that, to whom Mores looked a good horse, but I think she would have ate him for breakfast. The vibes have gone very lukewarm on this, which is a little bit of a concern. And they said, it's just a cold. Yeah, she's fine. She'll be back and all of this sort of thing. But like this was weeks ago now. So I'd want to be seeing her. She's obviously only probably going to get one run now. So my guess is, again, we'll be looking at a Newbury, a Sandown, an Ascot. I don't know what's coming up. And she'll go somewhere like that. And I'd expect her to be impressive. But she'll want to be because she's going to be lacking experience. I really wanted her to go there with... If she'd run in the Tolworth, won that, and then ran another run, she'd be going there red hot. But when you see Henderson, the way he speaks about him, both his males and his mares, it sounds like she's the best novice hurdle of all of them at home. So I think she's one to keep on side, but obviously I can understand why people have eased off a bit with the current concerns at the moment and the stable and a bit in and out, where Henderson's pretty much ran nothing the last few weeks. But next time she's out, I'd be surprised if she's not there to win. And if she's in a reasonable race, you might get her to win that race and then her to win at Cheltenham, and she'll be worth a price. So moving on, we've got the Triumph. We've got our mighty Lossiemouth, which I'm pretty sure nearly everyone on the blog seems to be on. I put her up at, it was between 16 to 1 and 20 to 1. So I got 16s myself. But when I mentioned her earlier on and asked if anyone was on, like, the slips started flowing in. So it's good to see that a lot of people listen with regard to Lossiemouth, because she's currently the 11 to 8 favourite. And I think she's going to take the world of beating at Dublin Race Festival next weekend. She's going to be 1 to 2 on. The field probably won't be massive. I don't think Blood Destiny will run. It'll probably be that Galen Mikhail, who she beat last time, will be the second favourite. And I'd fully expect her to just do the exact same again. Even without the weight allowance, she'd probably be winning these races. But with the weight allowance, it's massive. So I think she takes all the beating. She'll hopefully tick that box again, take her level forward again, and then off to the festival, where she'll go off. Probably she should be a short, probably an even money shot. The one that I did suggest last weekend was getting on side was Blood Destiny at 6 to 1 non-runner no bet. Don't get me wrong, the race that he won was an absolute farce. They gave him 5 lengths at the start. All the horses in behind were going for the boodles. They didn't want to get close to him. They made it look like they were trying, then they stopped and stuff. But he jumped, he travelled, and he went away. And it was a bit like what Gaelic Warrior did on debut, but this horse repeated it twice in a row. Like, nothing got very close to him. And whilst the main thing here is the fact that Blood Destiny and Lossiemouth ran on the same card in France before they were purchased. And Blood Destiny ran a faster time. Well, the winner ran a faster time. The winner was Beau Zenith, who since has flopped and is due to run on Saturday this week. But that run last time out, you'd say it's too bad to be true, but it wasn't like it was bad at jumping or anything. It just didn't look a good horse at all. He could have been 100 to 1 shot and you would have said, yeah, and he was sent off 1 to 4. So just cancelling him out for now, unless he bounces back this weekend. From that day, Blood Destiny and Lossiemouth, there wasn't a lot between them on times. So there may not be a lot between them. And I know it's fairly obvious that the yard like Blood Destiny. So if you are on Lossiemouth at the big price, this is what I was saying about backing more than one horse in a race. I would not have all your eggs in one basket, and I'd be happy to row in with Blood Destiny as well. Especially as I think he'll skip the Dublin Race Festival. So if she beats everything there, then in reality, there's not going to be anything left in Ireland that can trouble her unless they've not come out of the woodwork yet. So it'll be the English late risers from like Kempton and stuff that come in February, which normally aren't very good, to be honest. And then obviously Jupiter G of Gary Moore's, that lunatic horse, that's due to run on Saturday. But bar that, then it really could end up Lossiemouth against Blood Destiny for a shootout. And I could easily see it being even money in like 5 to 2 or 3 to 1. So 6 to 1 non-runner no bet, I think, not to be sniffed at. On to the big one, which is Gold Cup. I've got A Plutard at 5 to 1. I'm not going to go any further on that. Like, I wouldn't be telling anyone to bet, even if it's 10s, 12s, 16s. I don't like anything about what I've seen so far this season. Wait and see what the vibes are like on the day, but I just can't. It would be a training performance in a million if he can manage to go from a Betfair chase where he absolutely flopped to then having no other run and then coming back and winning a Gold Cup, beating these superstars. So it's a no from me. Galloping Deschamps, we've got at 8 to 1. Now, he speaks for himself. Obviously, next week, Dublin Racing Festival, if he's to absolutely hammer through the 3 mile barrier, which obviously we're expecting him to, first time at that trip, and he beats Statler very well, he's probably going to be even money for this race. Everyone's expecting him to be a superstar. He's been nurtured through beautifully from 2 mile 4 all the way up. He's looked a fantastic novice, but now he's more settled, he's more relaxed, and I think he's just going to destroy that race. And if you can get him on side by him to win there and win that thingy, and he's 3 or 4 to 1 to win both, do it. Get it in your bank. If he flops, he flops. It is what it is. But I think this horse has got the superstar. And the one that still, everyone's still slating, and I'm not having any of it, is Brave Man's Game. 22 to 1 was the price I got him at. He's still double figures. And yeah, okay, maybe I am a bit biased because obviously he did us all a favour, 6 to 1 for the King George. But the horse has done nothing wrong. And he's still always plagued as like just a below horse or whatever. And like I'm telling you now, if Allaho did what Brave Man's Game did in the King George, then Allaho was in this market, Allaho would be probably 5 to 2 for the race, and Brave Man's Game's double figures. Whilst I understand, before that, I was questioning his stamina. I didn't know what he'd find off the bridle and all the works, but he looked a different horse at Kempton. When he came off the bridle, he found again And I think he was not given a good ride. He was given a terrible winning ride that day. And the fact that he was kept three wide the whole race, he was allowed to have Lahon Press jump into him at every fence. Why they didn't take a pull and let him go or do whatever to just get out of the way. If he'd fallen, it would have been absolutely criminal. So for whatever reason, they did that. But the way you listen to the interview afterwards, and they saw it as like almost like a point and shoot. They just wanted to make sure he's got enough ground at his fences. And at the end of the day, he got the job done. And I think he's a much bigger player than people think. And at double figures, he's still a play for me. But I think he'll be underestimated again on the day, and people will come out with all the hatred of he can't stay this, he can't do that, and he'll be a big price anyway. But if you're not on and you want double figures, I wouldn't put anyone off that. For me, I'd imagine on the day, the only thing that would scupper me is if the ground's really soft and heavy, because there'd be question marks. I don't know that they won't, but Galopin and Deschamps and Brave Man's Game, I want like good to soft ground. And it knocks out the likes for me of Protectorat, Noble Yates, horses like that. And these two will be my 200% for the Gold Cup. Obviously, I've backed them both, so they are anyway. But I won't be looking to add anything, is what I mean. But if it's heavy ground, then it becomes a harder race. On to the final race is the Mare's Chase. So the highs and lows. I'll start with the low. Tell me something, girl. She cannot jump. She hasn't converted her mare's hurdle form across. She's got an engine. She travels. She's a beast of a horse, but she is not a chaser. So keep it simple. Even if she ran, I find it very hard to see her winning. Allegoria Devassi, we've got her 8-1. Now this is the complete opposite. She's got a massive engine. She can jump, but she also is not. She's not scared of any fence. My worry with her is she's just too brave. She doesn't respect her fences. She can gain a lot of ground at each fence because she's so aggressive. But when she gets one wrong, she is so close to going out the side door. Like the first time round on Novice Chase debut, when she came to the last two fences, it looked like it was tiredness, and she just got a little bit bored out in front. But second time round, it was like a kid being allowed to like just be let off the lead to go and play football with her friends. She just went absolutely berserk at that first fence, and she just threw herself. And she did get better as the race went on, and she was good at most of them. But at the same time, like, I think that's good though that she's done that here, because Paul Townend will now be alert to that and be like, right, I know that she can. But at the same time, she needs to iron some of those kinks out. Like, she's no 7-4 shot, in my opinion. Like, she's got the engine. That's 100%, and I think she's got a bigger engine than any entered in the Mare's Chase, and that could do her anyway. But she does not want to be jumping out to her right, and she also does not want to be guessing or going all in at every single fence. So I still think she's got a massive chance, and she's one of the ones to beat. But that was concerning. I didn't go into it thinking, oh, I'm now on an even money shot. I went into it thinking, if I wanted to cover in any sort of way, it would be a place lay, because it would be me presuming that she'd fallen or she wins. So, but we'll see. And then finally, Impervious. Impervious, the complete opposite. She's been a superstar for us so far. We've backed her on every start. She was 28-1. I put her up at, and I made it widely clear. And I told everyone when we backed her to beat Dino Blue and to win the Mare's Chase, 28-1. She's now 7-4 as well, and she's the opposite of him, of Allegory Devassi. She's got a big engine, but she jumps very well. She's hardy, she's gritty. She's already had 3 runs. She's even beaten the boys. So she's done everything that. The thing that really baffles me with this is the fact that Impervious obviously got bought by McManus's connections. In the past, Willie Mullins has won this race with LMA, who was McManus's connections as well. So he campaigned LMA so aggressively in against the boys, every Mare's Chase. She was out like every 3 or 4 weeks to get maximum. Last year, he did the opposite with Concertista. She ran twice, came to the race, awful. And this year, he's done a similar prep. I think Allegory Devassi is nothing like Concertista, just to clarify that. I think she's got a complete different profile, and she jumped fences in France. But I don't understand why he's not getting more runs into her. Be more aggressive. Send her to like some of these races. Like when you've got like, I don't know, something like an Appreciate It just dotting round, why not just let her run against Appreciate It or something half decent, just so that even if she doesn't win, she's gaining the experience. Anyway, back to Impervious. Impervious has looked brilliant and everything. And the thing that's important for Impervious is she finds so much off the bridle, her jumping's so clean, and she's done the battle. So she does warrant the 7-4, 2-1 mark. So, but at the end of the day, we've got an 8-1 shot and a 28-1 shot, and they're both joint 7-4 or 15-8 favourites. So we're in really good position. That Friday could be a massive day for us. We've obviously Lossy Mouth at 16-1. Galloping Deschamps at 8-1, Braveman's Game 22-1, Allegoria at 8-1, Impervious at 28-1. That could be some big day. That could be some big party Friday night. I'm hoping for all of us. And then finally, the last selection was to win any race was Jerry Colombe at 22-1, put up over Christmas time. I've got no idea where he's going to run. I think if he runs the Brown Advisory, I'd be more than happy with that, and that's where I'd like him to go. And I'll probably top up because it wasn't a massive bet that I had on myself, and obviously I don't know what anyone else has put on, but him to win any race, and I'm more than happy with that. So I hope you've enjoyed all of the selections, and we're getting close now. And basically buckle up because it's Cheltenham on Saturday and then Dublin next weekend. So that's all from me. If you like and subscribe on this YouTube video, and then you'll get all of the videos as soon as they go live. And as I said, my blog is at Risk for Rewards over on Twitter, and the blog is pinned to my profile. Thank you and goodbye.